7:03.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
I wish I could tell who. I hope. Okay. Folks are on. Katrina, let me know if you're out there. So today we were going to talk a little bit about mothers and daughters and communication and everything going on with COVID-19. We're so excited that a bunch of you put in some questions in the the little post that Katrina put up. So we're really happy to see some of that. We're gonna hope to answer some of your questions. I have both of my daughters here with me tonight. Where I'm gonna have them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kennedy. I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm on the volleyball team, and I'm a girls advocate for the United Nations.
Hi, I am Aaliyah and I am 29. I'm married with 2 kids, so a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I'm here chiming in.
Yep. So I have both of my daughters here. My daughter Aaliyah, who is turning 29, she is also a journalist, and some of this is going to make some more sense later when I answer some of your questions during the teenage years. Hey Connie, I see some people writing some things in teenage years because she wasn't the easiest child during that time, and
yes,
so there's
I was.
so there's phases that we're all going through. And Kennedy's doing it in her teenage years now. So hopefully this will help you guys. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have a doctorate degree in nursing. I am a nurse practitioner, and I started my research because my daughter Aaliyah, I had her very early. I was a teen mom, and I had both parents in my home, and I have a good mother, but I feel as if my mom and my relationship with my mother wasn't very helpful for me growing up. So I engaged in some behaviors that were not positive behaviors, which caused me to be a teen mom. So one of the things I decided to do was go to school, take school very seriously, focus on raising Aaliyah, and focus on understanding where I went wrong and how I can help other women or moms, sorry, got a pop up here, help other moms to have a positive relationship with their daughters, and their daughters to have a really great trajectory in their lives. So anyway, we decided to go with the theme of this page. Cut that out.
Cut that shit out.
Me and my little rebel. And so Kennedy's going to tell you about the theme we have tonight.
So tonight's theme is breaking the patterns in our lives that are no longer serving us.
Right. So we decided, okay, hey Monique, how do we break these patterns in our lives that are no longer serving us? And we were thinking, with everything going on with COVID-19, it is such a stressful time for a lot of us. It's a lot of uncertainty. We didn't expect any of this to be going on. If someone were to tell us in January we would all be in our homes, some of us having to go out and take care of patients that are very sick, that could actually, hurt us, and bring it home to our families, and we'd be social distancing, all these words we never knew about just in January, and how this shift has happened. So we're just going to talk about 3 different things that we've used to help us through these times, and also to get to know ourselves a little bit better, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first theme, or the first pattern that we're working on, is what?
Positive thinking.
Positive thinking. So positive thinking during a very uncertain time. And, just how do we do that? And what are some of the things that we do to kind of emulate those thoughts? So one of the first things I did, being a nurse practitioner and understanding how strong the mind is, because your mind can dictate your health. There's a book called The Mind's Own Physician, and it talks about how people have really changed their lives around by the way that they're thinking and the way that they, wire their mind. Your body does not know that your mind is not telling you the truth. So one of the things that I told my daughters when this whole pandemic happened, and they looked at me like I was absolutely crazy, I was like, write on a piece of paper that I am strong, my body is strong, and I am healthy. And to say that out loud every day. And just saying an affirmation, you can create your own, and saying it out loud can really help you to think that this is actually true. And by saying it, you will also convince yourself and your body to know that's true. So positive thinking sometimes just starts with a thought. So we're suggesting that everyone does something like that. And I don't know if Kennedy and Aaliyah have some thoughts for people on what they do to help them during this time of positive thinking.
I definitely think that it really helped when my mom told me to do that, because you get very stressed out and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like you read everything in the news and the constant articles that come out, and you're like, what do you do and how do you stay safe? And it's almost like you just hear so many negative stories, you feel very stressed out. So, and I have 2 little ones, so that adds like an extra layer of stress because I don't want anything to happen to them, obviously, or my husband. It's very stressful. So I think that really does help, and it almost helps me. It soothes me, because saying that everything is going to be okay, or saying I'm going to be fine, or I'm going to be healthy, it also relaxes my mind and helps me to stay positive, and it just clears out the, oh my gosh, what if, something happens to me? It kind of like settles my mind and my nerves. So I think that is something that has really helped me, staying positive and also focusing on the positive rather than the negative. Like, yes, we have to stay inside. Yes, things are very, crazy and scary. But Aaliyah, say you have kids.
Again, say you have kids again, that you have the
I have
toddler.
little ones, 4 and 1, and they are very busy and very hype, and it's very hard to keep them entertained. So that is, it's an extra layer of stress. I'm not just sitting here by myself. I have to entertain Harper, get Hunter excited. But just staying positive is important, and focusing on the positive rather than on the negative, I think is also I'm home, but thank God I can be home. Thank God I do have a home. Thank God I can stay home, because some people can't.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, I usually go on the phone with my friends. We usually FaceTime just to get our minds off the everything that's happening. Usually, I see a lot of stuff about this pandemic on social media. So as much as I already know from my mom about the pandemic, I'd rather try to focus more on the positive, the amount of people that are healing, the progress that we've made so far, and it just helps a lot more and also my mom, when she tells us to make sure to tell ourselves that we're healthy and strong, it really helps me just keep that mindset, and actually makes me feel better. And I usually just hang out in my room whenever I feel stressed, and I put on my diffuser. It just helps me feel a lot better.
Yeah, we believe in those air diffusers with the oils. That really does soothe us, and Kennedy loves that. And another thing that is helpful is thinking of some of the things we do have control of, like washing our hands for the 20 seconds and wearing our masks and all of that. So, we have to also focus on some of those things as well. Okay, so what is number 2, our second tip? So the first thing was positive thinking, and the second
Wait,
thing...
can we just roll it back? Because we have 2 commenters who are saying that they thought I was 16 or 13 or something. I am 29.
Do you see what I'm saying?
It's the cocoa butter, like Katrina likes to say.
Yes, this one is a firecracker. And oh my God, yes, it's the cocoa butter. Yes, she's not 60, she's almost 29 in July, and she will be 16 in July. Okay, so number two, the other thing that we have to help during this time is what?
Choosing your tribe.
Choosing your tribe. Now, all of these things I also wanted to say are in my book. We talk about different tips. I wrote this book again, what I want my daughter to know, for people to really have a source to go to. I never had a source. Some people have great relationships with their mothers, and the book they may or may not need it, but for me, I would have benefited from a book like this. So choosing your tribe, Kennedy kind of came up with this because Kennedy is 15, going on 16. There's boys that are checking her out in school. And, my daughter's already married. And we've talked about, I did not ever think of when I'm choosing a partner, what I should think about. Like, I was like, oh, he's cute. You know what I mean? But, little silly stuff. But, Kennedy and I and Aaliyah had talked about what's important. So, Ken, what are some of the things you want to say about that? Like, anything?
When choosing your tribe, you have to make sure that you're able to be your authentic self. You're able to be just who you are and be able to say anything you want without feeling like you're going to be judged. And just being able to express yourself, say you want to play volleyball like me, but your friends will say, oh, that's boring, or that's not the best sport. You just have to do it for yourself and not for everyone else. Because then once you do it, then you prove to them that it is actually a great sport.
Yeah, good job, Ken. Yeah, and so Lee, you have anything?
I mean, I think it's very important to, in terms of men, I think that, I obviously being handsome or attractive is important. My husband is cute, but I also think that being supportive and always I really looked for somebody who I knew was going to have my back, was not a lying, cheating dog, and was very, committed to our relationship and had the same goals that I had. So that is, I think that those things are very important when it comes to choosing your tribe in terms of a relationship. But in terms of friends, I think when my sister brought that up, I thought it was very important and very crucial because it's your friends can bring you down or bring you up. And even if you do have friends, I was telling her, even if you have friends who are supportive and oh yeah, go do that volleyball. Sometimes if you have friends who aren't doing anything, that kind of keeps you, at a standstill. I think it's important to be around people who are, moving forward, reaching for higher things, because it kind of lights that fire up under you to say, oh, maybe I can do that too. Or if you have friends who want to go places just like you want to go places. So surrounding yourselves with people who are, like-minded and, pushing. And Connie is saying attitude and morals are important as well. And I think that's very true. The morals and attitudes that, people have that surround you are very important, because it could either make your day go, negatively or more positive. So I think that's important.
I also want to add that your friends are your foundation. So the people you choose to be around are going to if they're good to you, they'll help you come up and like bring yourself up and introduce you to new things that you may want to try.
Yeah, like this. Katrina was the one who asked me to do this. It was about when I first launched the book. And at that time, I was under so much stress. But Katrina's like, Donna, this is great. You need to talk to folks on, in the group. And, having Katrina kind of tell me, this is great. Let's do this. It really inspired me. And that's why, I'm here with my daughters now having this conversation. So Katrina's a big part of my tribe, and I thank her for that. So this is living proof. There is one last thing that I wanted to say about choosing your tribe. There was someone in the group yesterday that wrote the sweetest post about their husband. She said she works in groceries or something like that. And she was saying that her husband also works in groceries. So I'm assuming, they're still working. They're essential employees and they're out there. And she was saying that, she was so stressed about doing her taxes. It's something she normally does, but she wasn't able to do the taxes because it was just so much pressure on her. And her husband actually helped her. He like sat down and said, let's do it together. And she said, because they worked together and because he was supportive, it took like 30 minutes to get it done. And it was like, it just made her feel better. And so I just love that, because what she's talking about is support. And that is what you want, a characteristic that we want in our tribe. So, so that was really nice in the group.
We have Rakisha said, my oldest daughter is queer and she goes to school with a not open-minded student body, so it's hard for her to be open enough to make friends because she can't be 100% authentic. And that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a hard thing to even experience and go through, because what do you do when you feel like you can't be open because people will shut you down or make you feel bad about who you truly are. I guess you just have to be strong and have your family support to tell you that no matter what it's easier said than done, but no matter what anybody says, you can shine bright and tell anybody, like, it doesn't matter what you think. But I know that that's very hard, especially when you're in school.
Of course. And it's really awesome that she has a mom like you, because you're posting this and you identify that and you obviously are supportive of her. And the relationship with the mother is the most crucial relationship a daughter can have. So believe it or not, although she's sad right now or whatever she's going through, your support can be that real strong foundation for her. And when she launches out of high school, then it's a little easier to find more of a diverse tribe when you get older and launch out. So thank you for bringing that up, because although we're doing better in that area, there's still a long way to go. A long way to go. So last tip that we have before we start answering some of the questions. Some folks put questions and we'll answer it the best way we can. So this is the last thing that we have.
Quiet time for reflection.
So we really believe in taking 15 minutes a day to meditate or have some time to reflect. I don't know if we'll ever have time like this in our lives, that we're home and that we have this time to kind of be still. One of the things with meditation, some people think it's just, meditation actually rehardwires your brain. It rehardwires your brain. It's the one exercise that you can do that resets your brain, believe it or not. And people think that there's these extraordinary things that you have to do, like surgery or something crazy, when I'm telling you the power of thinking, the time for meditation and reflection, it really can actually shift like what your thought process. So we really, suggest people before their kids wake up, before the husband asks for things. I don't know what that's saying right there.
No, they're talking about like resources.
Yeah, so before, just taking that 15 minutes to kind of just think about what you want for yourself. So I don't know if my girls have anything to say about meditation before we go on to some of these questions.
I'm not the best with that, but I think it is important to woosah, chill out, and like even when you do, have the time for yourself to just kind of relax even your thoughts. I find that sometimes if I try to relax and try to, when I do have quiet time when the kids are sleeping, I have to like tell myself to even chill out with my thoughts, because that they could kind of like stress me out a bit, or I'm not chilling out. So
last freshman year, a lot of the time I would feel very stressed out, just with like the schoolwork. So what I would do is as soon as I would go to sleep, I would put on some meditation music and just breathe, take deep breaths as I fall asleep, just to make me feel more calm. So that's what I do.
So, those are our three things that we do to help break barriers. And now I'm just going to answer some questions. There were some questions that were posted in the room ahead of time. I was actually trying to go live on my computer, but now we had to use my phone. So I just asked my oldest daughter to get her phone to see if we could access some of the questions. But I do have the first two questions. And when ZB wrote, my sister and I are night and day. We have a lot of issues with each other. My mom grew up as an only child and has always had the mindset that her girls should be the best of friends. I'm close with my mom and I know it hurts her so much that my sister and I aren't closer, and I carry a lot of guilt. Any thoughts? And I think this is a great question, because what you're saying in here, and I don't know the whole story. It's almost like writing a prescription without getting more information, seeing a patient, but I can just tell you the best that I can. There's a couple things that you said here. You said, my mom grew up as an only child, always had the mindset that her daughter should be best of friends. That is your mother's vision for you and your sister. And this is what happens with us as mothers. We have a vision for our children, and it may not always match what our children are giving us. And to be honest with you, if you feel like you're night and day with your sister and your needs aren't being met with the relationship with your sister that you could be best friends, then you should do what you feel is comfortable and authentic for you. And, understand that there should be no guilt. And that's a very strong emotion, guilt. There should be no guilt when you're being your authentic self. The issue is not you. It's actually how your mother, her vision has not been met. And, the issue is a little bit more with her than with you. So ZB, my recommendation to you is you're doing what is going to help you to be healthy and live a great life. And I really applaud you for being your authentic self in the relationship with your sister. Let's see. There is another question that we have, and it's from Nicole. And I was asking my daughter a little bit earlier about this. It says, how can I relate to my 17-year-old daughter that is only nice when she wants something? See, I wish Leah was here, because this is the kind of stuff I dealt with her. I try to talk and do things, and she just won't, she just won't do it. So I don't know, Ken, do you have any thoughts about this?
This one's a little more difficult for me because, I always try to just communicate with my mom as much as I can, just so that if anything happens, I just want her to be able to just be able to trust me and talk to me as much as she can. It's I don't know.
I know. So, Kennedy is more of an introvert, and she's not as like my oldest daughter. She's a raving extrovert. And so what helped me with talking to Kennedy, because there's a lot of times I wanted to have, conversations with her, I met her where she was. And Kennedy likes to talk in the car when we're driving. Kennedy likes to talk when we're cooking. And that's when I would talk to her. And, but I also think, and you were kind of saying this, that sometimes you kind of have to put them in check a little bit. Mm-hmm. If they are, not really, they only do something nice when they want to, sometimes it's important to say, well, I know, that, I noticed that you do, you kind of do this, and, it's all, a relationship is reciprocal. And so when I need something, maybe you can consider that too. But also you have to think about timing. Timing is really, really critical, and the tone and all of that. So that's when you're communicating, you have to look at all of those things. But I think the first thing is, again, it's talking about the mother's vision, what the mother believes should be their relationship should be with their child, and then meeting the child where they are, because their thought process is completely different. Did you find your phone?
No.
Okay, because
Kennedy hers.
there's other, but she doesn't have Facebook. Because I wanted to answer a couple. ZB, I just answered your question. Katrina, I need the other questions. Do you mind calling Kennedy's phone so that we could the other questions, because I want to answer some of the other questions. There was another mom. I didn't get to print it out before because it was just I really want to, okay, you spoke about breaking the cycle with your daughter. It's something that I've tried. Let's see if I could read this. Okay. I've tried to be very intentional about doing. It's something that I've tried to be intentional about doing. Okay, I'm going to see if I could get those questions and we can kind of see what, but I want to go to the questions that just go on the page and not to go live. I want to see what those other questions were that people had. There was a post that Katrina put up. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so here is another question. How can I try to relate to my okay, we did that one. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to say about Nicole's question is 17-year-olds, because I think there was another question. Here it is. I am struggling with the bipolar nature of a relationship with a 16-year-old. When she is willing to engage, we do great. When we need to engage, not, or her timetable's not always there, she pushes back. Any strategies? So it's funny. I know that when you say the bipolar nature, a lot of times, you know, we feel that way about the kids. And to be honest with you, it may in some ways feel that way because if you look at Erickson's, Erickson is a theorist that talks about the stages of development. And adolescent, a 16-year-old, their stage of development is role confusion versus identity. They're trying to figure out who they are, and they don't even know what they're feeling. Sometimes they're going through puberty. They're like happy sometimes, they're sad some other times. A lot of their hormones are imbalanced. So it does probably feel like bipolar. And it probably doesn't feel like it's fear, but I would like to say that some of the times we have to be patient with them. But at the same time, I really believe in boundaries. I really believe in boundaries and kind of although we're being patient and although we're understanding this phase of role confusion where they're trying to figure out where they fit in this world, that is what role confusion is. Who am I in this world? Who am I as your daughter, as a friend to my peer group in school, to my church, or whatever my volleyball team? And, you know, they're trying to go over to identity. The mother's role is to give them guidelines and boundaries during that time. So kind of, you know, telling her what's acceptable in the home and reinforcing that. Her behavior in a nice way, kind of shifting that over. But, you know, you're helping her build her identity. And the main thing is, the very main thing is to not impose your vision, 100% your vision for what you thought she should be like on her. And I know that's hard. You know, there's some social standards that we have, like manners. You can't be cursing and walling out in public. You know, if she's doing that, that's a social standard that may be appropriate, you know, but I'm talking about other things that she may like, or, you know, helping her to build her identity. So it does feel like that because they don't even know. Let's see, what was the other? You guys have anything about the 16-year-old?
I'm struggling with balancing my daughter's need for privacy and the need to protect her in the age of social media.
Okay, but there was one before that. Oh, yes, there was a birthday party one by Amanda. Amanda said, how do I, as an extreme introvert, help my extremely extroverted, almost 11-year-old through this strange period of transitioning through to middle school, and celebrating her birthday when she is so sad and down and missing her friends. She doesn't even want to get online anymore. And I understand that. That's very stressful. I want you guys to handle the social media one. So you guys are going to have to figure that one out. And let me just talk about this. But I think that it's hard. Every girl and kid is going through being home. You know, I know there's Zoom, there's house party. I do it with my friends. And she had a vision in her mind of what she wanted, and it's completely different now. Mm-hmm. Kennedy was supposed to have a huge Sweet 16 in June that needed to be canceled. And, you know, I just said to her, well, you know what? You'll be 16 next year and we'll see how it goes. And we may have to do a Sweet 17. It's very disappointing. Sometimes if you can softly encourage her, to do it. She may not feel like she wants to do it. And I'm not saying to really push her, but there's a lot of special things that people are doing, like those drive-by parades, like trying to organize that, because sometimes people feel down, but once it happens, they feel really happy. And I had my quarantine birthday, but we had the quarantine birthday for Aaliyah's 4-year-old the other day. And what did you do?
Well, we just made her like a specialty cake, and then we also got her balloons and everything, and we sat outside. We ordered her favorite food. But if she's really missing, she likes to be around people. So, my 4-year-old kind of, maybe she doesn't care as much as your daughter, so it's a little bit different. I would just try to encourage her as much as you can, and do the house party thing, try to make it fun and cool, and maybe get her friends on board to egg her on. And maybe do a TikTok video or whatever with her for her birthday. I don't know if they have like a birthday smash type,
or the challenge, the TikTok
something
challenge,
like that. Maybe to get her more, amped up, and to get her friends and stuff on board to do that as well. Because that is, if you like to be around people, and at a time like this, it is sort of hard.
And I know you're an extreme introvert, so that's hard, like to even think about a TikTok video. But, as mothers, we do things that, give us strength, because, remember, we're trying to guide these girls. So sometimes it'll help us even get out of our shell. I saw something that Katrina wrote about a mother ignoring abuse by, I think, an uncle for a woman or something like that. Physically, someone was physically assaulted and abused and pressed charges and won money in a judgment. Mom wanted to use the settlement. As mothers,
Is that what it said?
yeah, maybe Leah could read it, but as mothers, we're not perfect, and we're growing and learning.
Oh, the mom wanted to use the settlement money to pay his fine.
Okay, so again, just like I talked about the daughter, the girl that was being true to herself for her sister that she doesn't have a good relationship with, you have to always be your authentic self with your family. And it sounds kind of inappropriate for the mother to have that expectation, and probably a cycle of toxicity or a negative environment in your home. I don't know if you want me to basically validate that is inappropriate. And you probably already know that. So it's a brother. You have to be, and you have the right to be in a healthy family, a healthy relationship. You were born and deserve that right. And you should preserve yourself in any way in order to do that. Because you were not born into this life to be miserable and to meet other people's expectation when it doesn't serve you. Again, what is the theme of this show, Kennedy?
Breaking the patterns in our lives that are no longer serving us.
And that's why you create a tribe, just like, Katrina's bringing this up to me, probably for me to validate what you already know. That's why you're bringing it up. A lot of times we know what is true and what's good for us. And so you already know that that's not okay. And your relationship with your mother, although I know relationships with the mother is very important, you have to also create boundaries that are healthy for you, and that will help you to strive and be a healthy woman in your life. So I'm glad you're bringing this up and that you're brave enough to talk about this, but you don't deserve that. And if that's what happened, you don't have to live like that for the rest of your life. I don't have the best relationship with my sister, and I had to have boundaries for that as well. And so I do speak to her. We are cordial, but we're not best friends, and that's okay. I've created a circle of people that make me feel comfortable and that I can grow and thrive in those relationships. And see someone, Lori saying you have the right to remove anyone who is toxic from your life, no matter how they are or are not related to us. And that's exactly right. Again, it's, being your authentic self. There was another one, one last one before we chime out there was another question that was posed that we like to answer. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining in. I hope that you're enjoying this.
I'm struggling with balancing my daughter's need for privacy and the need to protect her in the age of social media. We have had some serious issues recently that I have addressed with her counselor. This has put me at odds with her, and unfortunately, her dad has put me in the position of handling it all. In other words, I'm the warden. By the way, she's 15 and a half. So that's Kennedy, right up your alley.
So we're talking about social media and boundaries and looking in the... Okay, so Kennedy's on Instagram, Snapchat, and all those things. So what do you think about that, Ken?
When it comes to social media, I really try to not put my business on the internet. I really just try to go to like my friends who I know will just keep my business between the both of us. Because social media, it may seem like the people who are watching are like going to be interested and they're going to like want to like know, but in reality it's going to be like they may like use it against you, or they may like judge you off of it, and then when that happens, it's going to make the situation you were in, it's going to make it worse. So it's better to just like keep it to yourself instead of like trying to like put it out there. Because
you mean the daughter should keep it to themselves?
Yeah, like,
okay.
But then we should maybe ask Lisa Faye, because she's here talking now. Oh, honey, I really wish my daughter... So, Lisa, do you feel like she's putting too much of her information out on Facebook? Is that what it is? Or on social media? Because I don't really...
Oh, she's 15 and a half, just like Kennedy.
So is she putting too much of her information out on social media?
So we'll find out, so Kennedy's saying, so it's... Okay, the daughter shouldn't put too much out, and I think that may be something that Lisa should be saying to her daughter, but it sounds like her daughter...
And it sounds like she does, because she says, I wish my daughter felt the same.
Okay.
And that she's the warden, so she
that's
must be
hard.
telling her.
Yeah, that's hard when your daughter is, kind of... Because maybe her friends are all kind of...
And then sometimes maybe, I mean... I don't know. I'm not the expert.
She was caught talking to a 19-year-old man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she said, well said, Kennedy. Wendy said that. Thank you, Wendy.
She was caught.
So, yeah. Okay. So that is, okay. So talking to someone that is older, and this is what happens on social media a lot.
Yeah.
She's not really having the, the right judgment. I had a client who, their daughter actually was like showing parts of her body, and the person took a picture and then threatened her and was telling her that they would kill her parents if she didn't do other things.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, he's trying to get her out the house. So, again, that's dangerous times. And I can tell you to be like patient and understanding. But, I know that you had written that you're kind of considered the warden. And, there's a balance that needs to happen. But at the same time, the main thing is that your daughter's safe and that she can have a healthy trajectory as she gets older. So, I mean, this is a very complex issue. And there's some boundaries that have to happen. She's again, role confusion versus identity. She's putting herself at risks that she can't even see how that will impact her later. And
so that's why I feel like at that point, which I'm, like I said, I'm not the expert. And so that's why I think at that point, then it's not about being nice. It's about being the warden and explaining it maybe and shutting it down. Because what else can you do at that point as a mother?
I feel like you really have to show what could happen. There are a lot of like videos on YouTube where they like play out the situation with real girls and put them in that situation. Where like this one video, they had one of the people that was working on the project pretended to be an older man on social media and talked to a underage girl with the parents' permission to see what would happen. And what happened was the 13-year-old girl ended up sneaking out of the house to try to meet up with him. And then when she got in the car, they were saying that they were going to kidnap her when they finally revealed to themselves as that it's actually her parents that was in the car. And they would say, what if we weren't your parents? What if we were actually people trying to kidnap you? And then that's when it's really kind of clicked on her. What could happen.
Really scared her straight.
So, Katrina's asking if I could talk about why, teens engage in risky behavior, but Lisa's also saying this is not the first issue. So it sounds like she's also probably doing this and kind of loving the feud it's causing between the both of you. And, some of the time, if I can't get through to my girls, I actually try to get someone that I trust to also talk to them. Because sometimes coming from a whole different source can help. But Lisa, you and I can chat a little bit more if you'd like. I'd be happy to talk to you offline. Now, why do some kids engage in risky behavior? It's because they like to build and learn resilience, believe it or not. They want to learn who they are. They want to test the boundaries. A lot of them don't understand cause and effect. What do they call it? Limited time perspective. That's the actual terminology, where they don't see what they do now, because adolescents are concrete thinkers. They don't think abstractly. The adolescent brain, the prefrontal cortex is not developed. It's actually scientific. So they don't see how cause and effect. So that's why what Kennedy was saying, I have been trying since they were young to say, okay, if you do this, I want to show you what this means, and constantly saying that, because they don't know how to do that. So the risky behavior, they're like, hey, I can do this. They don't even think of themselves as getting hurt because they don't have that concept in their brain. So our jobs as parents is try to, guide them very softly and make them understand, if you don't get A's or you don't get B's and you keep getting these C's, you're not going to be able to get into this college. This is what your college trajectory looks like. And sometimes they still won't get it, but just, in a very nice way and very different ways, plant those seeds, because if you do it too much, they tune out. These kids, they tune out.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like another big cause is also peer pressure from friends and people that you're around. So, I know, there are a few girls at my school who, at first they were, pretty nice and stuff, and then, once we kind of started high school or, going up in our grade, they kind of became more problematic. And a lot of people didn't like it. So, it's just an example that peer pressure is also, a reason why kids want to act out.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah,
the peer group is one of the, but remember, mothers are actually, believe it or not, you're not going to believe this, but they listen to you more than they listen to their peers. You may not realize it, but you're always in the back. That's actually research supported, that they do hear you. And the main thing that you can do is show them your expectations. The research shows that when you show a child what your expectations of them are, they really try to meet it. You may not realize it, but in the back of their mind, they really do try to meet it. But again, we're gonna sign out. Leah's babies are, getting crazy, and her husband's probably on his last thing. But again, I wanted to remind you of the book. The book is here as a resource. A lot of the things we went over tonight are here. It's affirmations. It's a fun book. It just gives you guides to different parts of your life that you can actually speak to your daughter about, and just have conversations with her. And, if it's not even for your daughter, it's as for you as a woman, it really is helpful. Because when I was writing it, I realized a lot of it was even just for myself. So thanks so much.
Thank you. It was a very good group. Bye, guys.
Thanks for the questions.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Katrina. We love you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, yeah. You